everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Today we're going to be talking about Victor Victoria, the good version. By that I mean the movie. I've already got a Today in Julie Andrews history video on the musical if you want to go watch that up there. But today we're talking about the movie, which did literally everything better. Actually, no, there was one thing the musical did better, but we'll get to that in a bit. Victor Victoria was released on the 7th of May 1982 by MGM Studios. It had a $15 million budget and it raked in almost half of that at just over $28 million. It was another one of Julie's movies that was directed by her husband Blake Edwards, and I think it is probably the best one. Personally, I prefer Darling Lily, but that is actually kind of independent of its quality. Victor Victoria, I think, is objectively better than Darling Lily, but I still think it would be in my top 5 Julie Andrews movies of all time. Maybe even top 3. Also, unlike Darling Lily, it was filmed entirely on sound stages at Pinewood Studios in England. In addition to Julie, the cast included Robert Preston, Leslie Ann Warren, and of course, James Garner. And the fact that James Garner is in it is one of the best parts about it. Overall, between Oscars and Golden Globes and a couple other awards, it was nominated for 18 awards and it won 11. It only won one Oscar though, and that was for Henry Mancini and Leslie Bricusse for Best Music. Julie was nominated, obviously, and I'm pretty sure she lost to Meryl Streep. Pretty sure that was the year Meryl Streep won. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not a Meryl Streep expert. You've probably heard it being described as a woman playing a man playing a woman. And the story follows Victoria, played by Julie, who is a struggling performer who is completely broke. She crosses paths with another performer, the very gay Carol Todd, who invites her back to his house because it's raining and she's been kicked out of her hotel. The next morning, Toddy's boyfriend, I guess, comes back to get his stuff and Victoria is about to run back to her hotel and try and sneak in there, so she's dressed in his clothes. And after she punches the boyfriend, who automatically thinks she's a guy, Toddy gets the amazing idea that she can pretend to be a man, perform as a female impersonator, and they will both be very rich. And so she agrees and chaos ensues, especially when a man shows up. That man being, obviously, James Garner. And I think it is one of her best performances. If you want to hear more about that, check out the video I made a couple of weeks back. Just try and not scream at me in the comments because of who I put at number 1. Trust me, I'm surprised at my feelings as well. So after Blake and Julie saw the movie that inspired it, called Victor und Victoria, which translates from German to Victor and Victoria, they decided they would obviously make a film. And Julie felt pretty daunted about doing it, just because of the way the role and the movie as a whole explores gender. But she was also very intrigued and thought it could be a really good way to represent love in all its forms. And I do think the way it explores homosexuality for a film made in 1982 and set in 1934 is very progressive. Obviously, given when it's set, you've got all the usual homophobic slurs that I'm not going to repeat here, but not once is it ever portrayed as something bad or wrong. Toddy is openly gay and very proud and comfortable in his sexuality, and he still has a character outside of being gay. Even in more recent stuff, that's not always the case. James Garner's King Marchand and Leslie Ann Warren's Norma Cassidy definitely don't get it, especially at the beginning of the movie, and do find it kind of uncomfortable, especially because King is attracted to Victoria. But that is presented as a very narrow-minded way of thinking. While the main love story is between a man and a woman, it starts when he thinks she's a guy. King tries to resist Victor for a long time because he's worried about what it would mean if he's gay. And even after he discovers she's a woman, he's worried about whether people will think he's gay. Their feelings for each other and even the very, very beginning of their relationship starts when he thinks she's a man. Sort of. Kind of. We'll get to that in a bit. I think this movie is hilarious. Like Star, I think it has a very high count of singular funny moments. Some of my favourite moments are:
being thrown out of this place is significantly better than being thrown out of a leper colony.
Oh, sit up, stand up, throw up.
I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep. I'm so tired.
I'll get you a cognac.
That'll help me sleep.
No, but it makes staying awake a hell of a lot more fun.
Plus many, many others. My favourite song would have to be Crazy World. I love that one.
Crazy world, full of crazy contradictions.
Why did you have to make it non-diegetic musical? Why? But speaking of the stage version, I said there was one thing that it did better than the movie. And that's when King and Victoria have their very first kiss. Right before that, he says, "I don't care if you are a man." Up until this point in the movie, he has been fighting the fact that he might be attracted to a guy, because he thinks that makes him less of a man. But it's gotten to this point in the story where he realizes he likes this guy enough that he's willing to be with him. Except that's not the case in the movie.
I'm not a man.
He knows. During the earlier scene where he's running all over the hotel trying to catch her and prove that she's a woman, he succeeds. He manages to sneak into the bathroom and catches her in the bath. She doesn't notice this at all, but he very clearly knows she's a woman by this point in the film. In the musical, he wasn't able to catch her. So he legitimately does not know she's a woman in the stage musical at this point, which makes the moment so much less powerful in the film. In the stage version, it's a moment of personal growth for the character. In the movie, it is not. But that really doesn't matter too much to me, because, you know, he's James Garner, and James and Julie together are just everything. I'm sure I've already mentioned this before, since I've done Julie Andrews history videos on both of the other films she made with him, but she said he was the best kisser out of all her leading men, and their chemistry together is incredible. Julie said she felt a bit awkward doing that scene in front of her husband, which makes sense. She also said that she was kind of relieved when filming was over, which I can kind of get. It's a very complex story, but I would absolutely recommend this one. Really great music, really good actors, really good performances, and a very, very important message, I think. The subject matter it covers is presented in a way that's pretty radical, I think, for the time in which it came out. And I think said subject matter makes it a very important story. And then they went and ruined it by making the stage version. Actually, I'm not salty. They are separate things. Absolutely check this one out if you haven't. If you have, let me know what your favourite moment and your favourite song is. And that's all I've got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like and subscribe. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my video next time. So long, farewell!